In the day's other news, Wall Street rebounded from Wednesday's big losses. Stocks were buoyed by strong earnings reports from Microsoft, Visa, and others. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 401 points to close at 24,984. The Nasdaq rose 210 points, nearly 3%, and the S&P 500 added 49. There is word that the Pentagon will send 800 or more active-duty troops to the Mexican border. That's after President Trump charged that a refugee caravan heading to the U.S. is a, quote, national emergency. Reports today said that Defense Secretary James Mattis is expected to sign an order for soldiers to back up the Border Patrol. Some 2,000 National Guard members are already deployed at the border. In Saudi Arabia, prosecutors now say the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi was premeditated. He was slain at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, earlier this month. Today's announcement is the latest change in the Saudi government's version of events. But Turkey's foreign minister says there are still questions to answer.
Jamal
Khashoggi's body still hasn't been found. Where is it? They admit that 18 people were involved, but why don't they say where? There is a crime here, but there is also a humanitarian situation. The family wants to know, and they want to perform their last burial.
Human Rights Watch reported today that Khashoggi's son and his family have left Saudi Arabia, bound for the U.S. And CIA Director Gina Haspel briefed President Trump today after returning from Turkey. United Nations officials say a Saudi coalition airstrike in Yemen has killed at least 21 civilians. Bombs fell late Wednesday on a town south of Hodeidah. That's the country's main Red Sea port. The attack smashed a vegetable processing plant and an outdoor market. Victims including plant workers and at least 2 children. Previous airstrikes have hit school buses, wedding parties, and funerals in Yemen. The Saudis are fighting Shiite rebels who are loosely aligned with Iran. A super typhoon slammed the U.S. territory of the Northern Marianas in the Pacific Ocean early today. At least 1 person was killed. The storm had winds of 180 miles an hour, making it one of the most powerful to hit the region, about 3,800 miles west of Hawaii. The typhoon tore roofs off of buildings, ripped up trees, and heavily damaged the islands of Saipan and Tinian. Officials said it could take months to get the power back on. Back in this country, President Trump rolled out a pre-election initiative on drug prices today. The pilot project calls for medicines given in doctors' offices to be priced according to what they cost in other countries. Mr. Trump says that drug makers often charge more inside the U.S. We will hear from Alex Azar, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, later in the program. The president also condemned a New York Times report today that China and Russia have hacked into his calls on unsecured phones. In a series of tweets, he called it fake news. He also said, quote, "I only use government phones and have only one seldom used government cell phone." Meanwhile, the Chinese dismissed the story as well.
Reading this news report makes me feel that some people in the United States really are sparing no efforts to contend for the Oscars for Best Screenplay. The New York Times should understand that publishing this kind of report provides new evidence that it's making fake news.
The New York Times report said that White House officials have repeatedly asked Mr. Trump not to use his personal phones. Still to come on the NewsHour, what the bomb scares reveal about our deep political divisions, how Saudi Arabia bought influence in the U.S., the Secretary of Health and Human Services on a push to lower drug prices, and much more.